The Great Hunger, written by Cynthia Kennedy Hensel, illustrated by Gary Undercuffler. Focus question: how did the Great Hunger affect Ireland and its people? Words to know: blight, Ireland, decay, landlords, immigrants, population, famine, starvation, homeland, tenant, immigrants, workhouses. The Emerald Isle. 4. Hard times. 5. A horrible discovery. 6. First winter. 8. Hope, disaster, and relief. 10. Going to America. 12. Aftermath. 14. Conclusion. 15. Glossary. 16. The Emerald Isle. Ireland, also known as Emerald Isle, is a beautiful island of northwestern Europe with rolling green hills, ancient castles, and windy shores. It has a colorful winter. It has a colorful history and is famous for its music, literature, and folklore. Some think of it as a magical land, land of elves, leprechauns, and fairies. Beyond its natural beauty, Ireland is a hard-working country whose economic health matches than the most of Western Europe. Tourism remains prime industry. Over 6 million people remains a prime industry. Over 6 million people travel to Ireland each year to see its beautiful countryside and places of historical interest. It hasn't always been like this, however. Hard times. Between 18,000 and 18,040, Ireland's population increased by over 50%. 8.5 million people were there was little industry to support so many people. While the island had been ruled by Britain for a century and as a part of the United Kingdom, Irish people did not have equal rights to the people of Britain. Most could not vote or hold public offices, and a few owned land. Unlike Britain, Ireland did not have many factories where people could work. Most people farmed land leased from wealthy landlords who live in Britain. Many farms were only size of new acres. Tenant farmer grew wheat or other grains to pay rent, and they grew potatoes to feed their families. A horrible discovery. Farmers made a horrible discovery as they went to their fields on a foggy fall day in 18,045. The smell of decay filled the air, and the leaves of potato plants were black and wilted. The farmers dug desperately where plants and wilted. Only the two discovered that potatoes were mushy. Something had happened during the night. Some thought it was unusually wet, cool weather that had killed the potatoes. Others claimed it must be tribes of warring fairies that have destroyed the crops. Some British people of the Protestant faith thought it was God's punishment on the Irish people for their Catholic faith. Voyage of the potato. People often associate with potato in Ireland, but the plant was originally grown in South America. Spanish brought potatoes to Europe in the 15s. People depended on potato. People depended on potatoes crop for food. 3 million Irish people ate nothing but potatoes. A farmer with acre of land could grow enough potatoes to feed his family. Potatoes, which could be stored all winter, provide nutritious diet when eaten with milk, cabbage, and fish. Now, a third of the crop rotted in the ground, and struggle family worried that they will have how they can survive until spring. First winter, the landlord took the farmer's grain as payment for rent. Without potatoes, families had little to eat. So they sold their livestock, furniture, and clothes to buy food. The government opened large workhouses where desperate families could live in exchange for work. No one wanted to go to a workhouse for help. Families worked long hours to rack bed and a little food, and no one could leave without permission. The government bought India corn from America to help feed the hungry population. But people did not have a way to grind the hard, dry kernels in cornmeal. Some got sick from eating poorly cooked corn. Food got more expensive, and people became desperate to find a way to earn money. The government started public works projects such as building roads and bridges to provide jobs. The, the work was hard, and the pay was low. It took nearly 5 days of work to buy cornmeal, to feed a family of six for 3 days. Still, men walking many miles or stood in long lines to get any work they could find. Hope, disaster, relief. Finally, the long winter ended, and farmers eagerly waited for the new potato crop. Disaster struck again in August, when three-fourths of the crop failed. Desperate families have nothing left to sell. The workhouses were crowded, and a long winter with no food loomed ahead. Families like 10-year-old Michael O'Kane had no choice to workhouse because his farmer, a farm laborer, could not find no work. Michael, his parents, two brothers, and three sisters walked hours from the workhouse from Kailua village in September of 1847. He had to live with the boys and men in separate area away from his mother and sisters. He went to school in the morning and the whitewashed walls or clean pigpens all afternoon. His youngest sister, Bridget, died over the winter. Disease spread easily, especially in the workhouses. Even more people died from typhus and cholera than died of starvation. Despite the obvious need, many officials and landowners in Britain ignored all the pleas for help or relief plans. Grains was exported to other countries rather than kept to help Irish farmers. Other people wanted to help. The British Relief Association and Society of Friends, Quakers, raised money for relief. Irish immigrants in America sent money to help family and friends. Soup kitchens opened, and each day up to 3 million men, women, and children stood outside in long lines for a bowl of soup and a piece of bread. It was not nearly enough. Going to America, every penny a family had to spend on for food, so there was nothing left to pay the overdue rent on their farm. Some landlords gave money to or grain to their farming tenants, but it would only temporarily help. Other landowners evicted families from their homes. They tore down and burned the empty houses to avoid paying taxes on them. Driven from their country by hopeless conditions, hundreds of thousands of Irish people crowded to ships bound to the United States or Canada, leaving their Irish homeland forever. It was a difficult journey because the ship took 40 days to cross the Atlantic Ocean. Even when the weather was good, many of the ships carrying the Irish immigrants were called coffin ships. The passengers Passengers were packed below deck. These diseases spread in overcrowded, filthy conditions. There often were not enough food, water, or blankets for passengers. Many died, and many of those who survived arrived in America sick and weak. Conclusion. Scientists eventually discovered that the potato plants died because of a disease called late potato blight, which is caused by fungus-like organisms Phytophthora infestans. Even after great hunger, as the famine was called Ireland, Irish immigrants to the United States continued. Over 5 million people arrived between 18,050 to 19,020. Some ran for political offices and others started businesses. Famous Americans, including President John F. Kennedy and inventor Henry Ford, had ancestors who came to America during the famine. Today, 40 million Americans proudly claim Irish roots, celebrate its folk traditions and holidays, and continued to popularize Irish literature, music, and film as an established part of the world culture.